Hello, my dearies. It's time for another scary tale told in the blanket fort. Tonight I want to tell you about a man that just hated humanity. He hated people. He hated dogs. He hated cats. He hated cars, airplanes, noise. He hated everything. He hated the city. He hated the suburbs. He hated the farmlands. He'd had enough of freaking life. All he wanted was a little bit of peace and quiet. So one day he told his boss off. He went through that office. He didn't say goodbye to anyone. He wasn't sad that they were going to be gone. They were out of his life. He was going to have peace and quiet. So he got in his car and he drove out into the mountains, way out into the forests. And he watched for days because he wanted to be certain nobody came there. It was nice and quiet. And then he built himself a little shelter. And it was absolute bliss. When he settled down that night, he slept 12 hours. When he woke up in the morning, he said, Thank you for this heaven. I love this. This is my heaven. And then the second day, well, raccoons started showing up, and bears, and squirrels. Even a Bigfoot watched his camp. The man said, okay, I've had enough. I really, no, I don't want any living things around me. So the man packed up his stuff into his backpack. He hiked way up in the mountains, way high altitude, like 12,000 feet. There was like almost nothing growing up there, so he figured, hey, if there's nothing growing up here, there's nobody living up here. So the man settled in, and he made himself a little tent. It was very comfy inside. He slept very well that night. Next morning, though, early in the morning, he woke up to the sound of birds squawking. There were eagles, and there were condors, and there were all these kinds of birds that were chattering. There were even these sheep, some kind of crazy sheep that would climb up mountains. It was enough. There had to be some place where there was no life. I've got to find my heaven. Where would it be? So the man decided to start hiking. Maybe if he hiked around, he might find something. Well, he did. He found an outcropping of rocks that had a cave underneath it. And he thought, a cave? Of course! I hadn't thought of that. That's the perfect place. There will be no life there. The man went inside the cave, and he settled down for the night. And he thought, oh, it's so black. It's so quiet. This is exactly what I wanted. Until the bats began to squawk as they left the cave for the evening. And then a snake started crawling inside, waiting to hibernate, as well as a bear that decided to bed down. And the man said, okay, this is crazy. All I want is peace, quiet, darkness. I just want a cocoon I can hide in. Where is my heaven? So the man wandered around. He stumbled down the mountain. And then he started shaking his fist at the sky, and he said, God, where is my heaven? I need my heaven. And then all of a sudden the ground shook, and it shook and shook and shook until he sat down to steady himself because he didn't know what was happening. And a big hole opened up in the earth, and the man looked down, and the sun shined down into the hole, and he could see it was a dark cavern, a new cavern, a cavern where nothing had ever lived. The man climbed down inside. It was so pleasant, and it was so quiet and so dark, and nothing was in there but him. He was the only thing around, and he thought, wow, this must be my heaven. And as he did sit there and enjoy himself, he decided to get up and see just how big his cavern was. He clicked on his flashlight, and there was a sign on the wall, and the sign read, Thank you. You were the first person to volunteer for hell. Enjoy it. There will be no life here, no light, just you. And then the door shut on the hole, and the man was in there in the complete darkness, just himself and the sound of his heartbeat. And he started laughing. Oh, I wasn't looking for heaven. I was looking for hell. Thank you, devil.